Hi there, it's story time. Today we're going to talk about the sad story of Mike Lindell. You might know him as the CEO of MyPillow, the company that sells pillows and bedding products. But his story goes way beyond pillows. Before he became a businessman, Mike Lindell struggled for years with serious drug addiction. He said that getting clean was a huge turning point in his life and that the change helped him build MyPillow into a nationally recognized brand.
Got into cocaine, and then it was 20 years functioning cocaine addict, and then 10 years crack cocaine. So it was a long.
His personal comeback story made him a well-known figure. Mike's downfall began when he refused to accept the outcome of the 2020 election. He claimed the election was stolen and rigged, mainly blaming a company called Dominion. Dominion Voting Systems makes machines used to count votes in many states. Lindell said these machines were hacked or programmed to switch votes. And he wasn't the only person to think so. After the election, social media exploded with videos, posts, and news stories, many of them later proven false. These stories and posts claimed massive fraud. These weren't just random rumors. There were slickly produced documentaries and viral clips circulating wildly on platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and fringe websites. There were also broadcasts hosted by cable news. Their show hosts repeated unconfirmed rumors, and when pushed for the actual evidence, sometimes actually in court, they were forced to admit that they didn't have any. Sadly, Lindell was deeply influenced by this flood of information and trusted these sources without solid evidence. Poor Mike became convinced that the election was wrong. He spent millions producing his own videos and documentaries. He held rallies and publicly pushed these themes. One of the wildest moves that he made was hosting something called the Cyber Symposium. In 2021, he promised to release undeniable proof that the Chinese government hacked the election using Dominion machines. He even offered $5 million to anyone who could prove the data he presented wasn't actually legit.
There's a $5 million prize for anybody that can prove the election data that I have from the 2020 election is false.
And unfortunately for him, that's exactly what happened. A computer expert named Robert Zeidman, who publicly identified as a conservative Republican, looked at so-called evidence and realized it was complete nonsense.
Aaron, thanks for having me. And I think it was relief, not because I doubted my own findings. In fact, I never expected to be able to show that it was bogus data, because normally data analysis could take weeks or months, and I had 3 days. But the data was so obviously fake that I spent a few hours before I could show it was fake.
Just pages of random numbers, gibberish files, and zero actual data from the election. He wrote a report explaining why the files were fake and claimed the $5 million prize. But Lindell refused to pay, so Zeidman was forced to take him to arbitration, and he won. Then a federal judge confirmed the ruling. Lindell now owes that $5 million. He's still fighting it, but the panel's decision was clear. There was no evidence of tampering, as Lindell had claimed. And the rules for the challenge were met. The proof Lindell had hyped for months was totally bogus. And that's just one of many lawsuits against poor Mike. Lindell also targeted a Dominion employee named Eric Comer, then a securities director at Dominion Voting Systems.
A few moments ago, a federal jury in Colorado found prominent election denier and top Trump campaign donor Mike Lindell liable for defaming an employee of Dominion Voting Systems after the 2020 presidential election. Lindell was sued by Dominion executive Eric Comer after he called Comer a, quote, traitor and claimed he stole the election.
Comer became a focal point in theories following the election. Lindell publicly accused Comer of being involved in fraud, calling him a traitor, and amplifying unverified claims on his media platform, Frank Speech. The origins of these accusations appear to trace back to a false story circulated by Joseph Altman, host of the Conservative Daily podcast. who claimed to have overheard a call where someone named Eric from Dominion allegedly said he would ensure Trump would not win. Who, by the way, is facing his own legal battles related to this claim. Altman to date has not been able to provide any proof of this accusation. Anyway, Lindman repeated this claim without verifying its authenticity. That got him sued, and on June 16, 2025, a jury ordered Lindell to pay Comer $2.3 million in damages. He's appealing, but the verdict stands. The biggest legal threat is still Dominion's own defamation lawsuit for a jaw-dropping $1.3 billion. They say Lindell's constant public lies tanked their business, endangering employees, and spread dangerous misinformation, and they want him held accountable. But here's the thing. Lindell's reality continues to get worse, if you can believe that. He says he's basically broke, and retailers have dropped my pillow. The company has lost $7 million last year. He's been evicted from warehouses. He owes FedEx and DHL millions of dollars, and in his own words, he's got about $10,000 left to his name. But here's the thing. Mike Lindell's downfall isn't really about politics or about the election. Not really. It's more about how fast lies can spread online. How someone with a microphone and a following can just say salacious stuff without any proof at all, and people will believe it. Even people with influence can fall for slick misinformation, and how then refusing to admit you're wrong, no matter what the evidence says or what it doesn't say, can cost you everything. Mike Lindell went from overcoming addiction and building a multi-million-dollar business to potentially losing it all over a lie he believed and promoted without any real evidence. Not any verifiable evidence, anyway. And for now, that's the sad story of Mike Lindell. And it's not looking like it's going to get any better. Well, I guess that's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.